This Spotlight is brought to you by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank.
Welcome to Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette. Today I'm joined by three local nonprofits, Hesed House, A.D.O.P.T Pet Shelter, and the Naperville Chorus. You're watching Spotlight, and joining me now representing Hesed House are Joe Jackson and Lauren Jernigan. So nice to have you both on the show.
Thank you so much for having us again.
Absolutely. Now, Joe, tell us a little bit about Hesed House and who you serve.
Sure. So Hesed House, this is our 40th year.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We are the second largest homeless shelter in the state of Illinois, but we consider ourselves to be a lot more than just a shelter. So on site, we have basically every service or opportunity that somebody or a family might need to get back up on their feet again while experiencing homelessness. And then recently, we've actually just added homeless prevention services as well, because we want to make sure that if we can stop homelessness from happening, we can. And as far as who we serve, anyone and everyone. I mean, we serve the greater Fox Valley area, which absolutely includes the greater Naperville area. And the folks who come to our doors, we were founded on the idea that we're going to serve the most vulnerable, the most at risk, the most impoverished, the most disinherited, disenfranchised. And so that's who we seek to serve. We very much try to not have to ever turn anyone away and create as few barriers to shelter services as possible.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting, right, when you talk about the services. Just say a little bit more about that, because, you know, we sort of talk about homeless and we think, well, somebody doesn't have a roof over their head, right? But there are so many things that in the services that you're offering are really the causes, right, of what gets somebody to that stage. Say just a little more on that.
Yep. So in terms of services, we have case management services on site. We have a fully staffed medical clinic on site, a legal clinic that's run through the NIU School of Law. We have substance use disorder services, mental behavioral health counseling, parenting classes, family counseling, job training, resume build. I mean, if you name a service or something that might help someone or a family get back on their feet, it is either on-site at Hesed House being provided, or one of our great community partners comes in and provides that for us as well.
Okay. Well, and that kind of leads me to a question to you, Lauren. So how can people get involved with you and be of service to the services that you're providing?
Yeah, you know, I grew up in Naperville, and I remember volunteering at Hesed House. So I think a lot of times people think about volunteering in our shelters, and so that's one way. So people can come, they can help get involved by serving a meal, but they can also donate by our wish list. So we have needs. People don't think about when somebody moves out of homelessness, they might not have basic things like utensils. And so something on our wish list lets somebody moving into their house have a fork. You know, simple things like that really make a difference. They bring dignity to somebody. People can get involved with our Derby party. So that's a big fundraiser. People can help volunteer in a variety of ways. So that's one way.
Okay, okay, so lots of little avenues that people can get. And I think I remember bringing my children there. I mean, you do a lot with children to help them understand what that looks like, right?
Yeah, we have an entire thing called our Junior Ambassadors Club. So that's something from a lemonade stand as well as doing a whole drive or our Hike for Hesed. So we have people that gather all across the community and have entire events from a couple people to 100 plus people that get together and just advocate on behalf of folks that need support of housing and other things like that, really to help make change when people really define the face of homelessness, because it's something that happens to people all over. And so we really are looking to humanize and help people understand our neighbors in need.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think your word humanize is very important, right? Oftentimes we see a tent or we see somebody on the side of the road and we don't sort of realize that there are lots of people just like us who ran into a bad circumstance and found themselves suddenly without the means to be able to take care of putting a roof over their head.
Exactly. They're just our neighbors.
Yeah.
And how can we help them? And so that's really, you know, the ways that people want to get involved, we love to help them get involved. So if you're interested, reach out. We'd love to figure out how you can be part of the Hesed family.
Okay, you'll find a way.
We'll find a way.
Okay, love that.
Yeah.
So Joe, what are some of the things that are coming up next for you? Because I know you're always busy, always adding new things. So what's coming up next?
Absolutely. So the biggest thing on the horizon is our shelter expansion project. Shelters across the state and frankly across the country cannot keep up with the demand for homelessness. And so one thing that we're doing at Hesed House is we're going to increase our adult shelter capacity to over 300, and then also increase our family shelter capacity to well over 100. And the need is there specifically on the family side because we are seeing such an uptick and a surge in families experiencing homelessness these days. It has gone up almost 150% at Hesed House with the number of families who have needed us compared to 3-4 years ago. We are seeing record numbers of men, women, and kiddos in need of shelter services. So we're expanding our shelters, we're expanding our homeless prevention services and our case management team to get people connected with these services and find housing to get back on their feet again and get back into independent living. And then last but certainly not least, Hesed House is going solar.
Okay.
So we received a grant through the Illinois Solar for All program, and so we'll have solar panels on both of our buildings here in the next couple months. And we're excited about that, not just because it's great for the environment and sets a good example, but speaking just very frankly, it'll save about $30,000 of overhead that we can then reinvest into our programs and help get people out of homelessness even more.
Yeah, absolutely. A win-win-win on all fronts there,
Exactly.
right? Yeah, well, congratulations to
Thank
you
you.
on getting that. That's great. Lauren, we're sort of in the fall season. We're starting to feel like, oh, the holidays are coming, ready or not, right? But you've got some exciting things happening at the holidays. Tell us a little bit about those.
We do. The holidays are always magical just because everyone's in the season of giving. And so, again, our community, we always talk about how Hesed is not just our staff, right? We've never been staff. We're a grassroots organization. We were really founded because we were the public's response to meeting the needs of our neighbors in need. And this holiday season is the same thing. So we've got a bunch of different community events going on. There's something called the Giving Machine, and so that's going to be happening at Fox Valley Mall, actually, so people can go and get connected that way and choose Hesed House to be a part of it. There's a bunch of different events that are going to be coming up, so we're really excited about that. And so if you're interested in getting involved and feeling a little extra holiday spirit this year, be sure to reach out to Hesed House and get involved. There's different wish lists, and so again, if your family's feeling motivated to figure out how to help and connect in with our shelters in a certain way, please just reach out, because we've got just different ways that our families and our individuals, the men and women and children that we serve, have different needs. So we'd love to connect with you guys.
Absolutely. Well, and I think, and when you talk about that increase in families, I mean, we think about, from a childhood perspective, the holidays, you like to think that they're a sort of magical, as you put it, time, right? So important to see if we can do that even if there's not a roof over your head.
Exactly.
Right, right. Jill, what else? What else should we know about Hesed House? What else can you tell us that you feel, it's just important for the community to know?
Sure, absolutely. As Lauren alluded to and mentioned, the idea of Hesed family. Just to everyone out there who's watching, who has supported Hesed House over the years, we wouldn't be here without everyone that is out there, whether it be the thousands upon thousands of donors or the 7,500 plus volunteers that we have each and every year that come to our doors and help us enact our mission. It takes a tremendous community to end homelessness, and we have that community at Hesed House and with everyone out there who joins us in our mission. So just a huge thank you to everyone out there. I'm blessed to be a part of Hesed House, not just because of the work that we do, but because I get to be a part of this amazing community that is there for one another and is willing to lend a hand out to help somebody up in their time of need. So just so grateful to all of the supporters and everyone out there who joins Hesed House in our wonderful mission.
Well said. And while you're celebrating, and I congratulate you on 40 years of being able to serve the community, let's hope maybe in another 40 years you won't need to.
Exactly. I would love to be out of a job.
Right. Thank you so much for coming by. Absolutely. And if you would like to learn more about Hesed House, the many ways you can volunteer with them, please go and visit their website. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We're coming right back with more Spotlight.
Growing your family, opening your own business, retiring to travel, leaving your legacy. At Busey Bank, we know there's a lot to look forward to and a lot of planning along the way. Celebrate your life's milestones by putting your money to work. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
We live in a safe community, but not a crime-free community. If you see something, say something. Be a Naperville Crime Stopper.
If you're just tuning in, you're watching Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette, and joining me now from A.D.O.P.T Pet Shelter are Chris Yell and Alexa Martinovich. So nice to have you both with us.
Well, thank you so much for having us.
Yes, and we've got kind of double the trouble with some guests here, right?
Yep.
So Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you're holding? Who's
Sure.
this lovely feline?
Well, this is Caitlin, and she is a calico kitty. She's about a year or so old. Recently had a litter of kittens.
Okay.
Her kittens have been adopted, and now she's waiting for her home.
Okay. How many cats do you typically have at the shelter at any one time?
Oh gosh, we can have anywhere from 30 to 50 cats, and then even more in foster. So we
Okay.
have a lot of cats in our care.
Okay, well, she's absolutely lovely. And then, Alexa, who is this lovely young man?
This is Frankincense, or lovingly called Frank the Tank. He is a senior dog. He's been with us since January of this year, so he's been waiting for his home for a long time. He's around 8 years old, I believe, and he's a lowrider. He's a lovable lowrider.
Okay, I love that term. And he is super sweet.
So sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk a little bit, he's been waiting a while. Talk a little bit about the adoption process. How does that work?
Yeah, so if you're interested in adopting an animal, the first step would be filling out an application. You could do that either in person at A.D.O.P.T Pet Shelter, or you can do it online at adoptpetshelter.org. Once we have that application, we'll review it and then go over some good matches for the family and for the dog. We want to make sure that it is a good fit. We utilize a matchmaking process to do so. Want to make sure everyone in the home gets along with the animal and vice versa. And that includes any current resident pets in the home as well.
Okay, so now that's an interesting question. So do you usually have them bring the pets to the shelter? Do you take the dog to the home? How do you figure that out?
So it depends. If there's a dog in the home, we have them bring their dog to meet the dog that they're interested in at the shelter. If they have a cat at home and they're interested in a dog, we usually just cat test our dogs at the shelter, just so the cat isn't too stressed out coming from home and being in a shelter environment.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Now, typically, I'm curious, how do most of your animals find their way to adopt?
Well, we get them from many different sources. We pull from our local animal controls.
Okay.
Some of our animals come from Southern Illinois. We also do owner surrender, so if somebody's unable to keep their pet, they can contact us and we will take them in and get them adopted out.
Okay, and about how many, Alexa, as you were talking about that, I mean, in a typical year, how many adoptions are you able to sort of match with the forever home?
Oh man, what would you say
We're
for
around 600 a
Yeah.
year.
600?
That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of matchmaking.
Yeah,
It is.
sure is.
And takes a lot to do that. So Chris, now talk a little bit, you're doing some expansion work. I mean, you talked about how many animals you have in the shelter, but you're always, it seems like we've always got a little expansion going. So say more about that.
Yeah, so we're really excited. This year has been a big year for A.D.O.P.T. We recently opened our off-site medical clinic.
Okay.
So at that clinic, we provide spay-neuter services for our fellow rescue partners, as well as for families in the community, if they have a pet that needs to be spayed or neutered. And we also provide a vaccine clinic.
Okay.
So we allow people to come in and get vaccines for their pets, and we do it at a lower cost. So our hope is to be able to provide, good care for all animals, regardless of your ability to financially, meet that expectation. So and then our latest addition, which we're really excited about, is going to be opening next week, is our training facility. So we currently now have a 4,000 square foot training facility, And our plan is to provide training for not only our dogs that are adopted through our facility, but also for dogs out into our community. We're really wanting to be a resource for our community and for other rescues. So we're kind of going full circle where we're able to do adoptions, we're able to provide for their medical care and health, and now also behavioral health. So we've kind of come full circle, and we're super excited about that opening, and we'll be starting training classes in the next couple of weeks. So it's really an exciting time for A.D.O.P.T.
Yeah, that's amazing. And what I loved you saying is that you're working with other rescue partners. So a lot of collaboration going on in the space.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Our goal is to help as many dogs that we can at the training center.
Okay.
And a lot of the need is for training services, and we will also provide training where other shelters can bring their staff in. We can do training on how to handle animals in the shelter, provide resources for people who may be experiencing challenges at home, and they can bring their pet in, and we can help them through some of the issues that they're dealing with in an effort to prevent them from being surrendered. Because a lot of dogs are surrendered to the shelter for behavioral issues. So our hope is to kind of decrease that number and help our friends and family in the community.
Yeah, well, I think, I love that, the prevention services, because, I mean, dogs can be quite the handful. And if you don't train them right, you get the outcomes that you should have been expecting if you didn't train them right. So that's good. Talk a little bit, about how the community can help you with A.D.O.P.T. I mean, you have a lot of ways that you work with the community. How can people engage with you?
We are always looking for volunteers, so we would love to have people come in and volunteer, help us care for the dogs. We have volunteer opportunities at our medical clinic, so if you have a medical background and you want to help out in that arena, we're absolutely looking for volunteers. And same with the training center. If you're a trainer or if you have just a want to help, there's all kinds of opportunities at the shelter. Fostering is another big thing. We're always looking for fosters to help us care for the animals, because the demand for help out there, groups wanting us to take in additional animals, we only have so much space at the shelter, but if we can expand our foster base, we can help even more animals.
Yeah.
And we need
say a little more about that. How does that work? Is it much the same way that you would foster a child? I mean,
Yeah, so we have people who are interested would need to fill out an application similar to our adoption application.
Okay.
And we just have a conversation with them, make sure that if they have pets, their pets are current on vaccines and are altered, and that their house is suitable for whatever pet we might put into their home on a temporary basis.
Okay, all right, so that's another way. How old can the kiddos be? Can kiddos help you, or what's your sort of minimum threshold for the volunteers?
So we have a parent-child program.
Oh, nice.
So that allows a child between the ages of 11 and 17 to bring their parent with them and do the volunteer activities in the shelter.
Okay, so there's opportunities for it to be a family bonding time and get to know the animals and maybe learn some responsibilities with that, right?
Start them young.
Yes. Well, that's exciting. Well, listen, you've got so much good stuff happening. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Of course, thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. To find out more about A.D.O.P.T Pet Shelter, please go and visit their website. Don't go away. We'll be right back after these messages.
Busey Bank is proud to partner in building business and growing wealth since 1868.
Welcome back to Spotlight. And joining me now from the Naperville Chorus are Reed Taylor and Elizabeth Case. So nice to have you both on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So Elizabeth, let's start off with you. Talk a little bit about the history of the Naperville Chorus and when it all started.
So the Naperville Chorus began in 1976, but it was kind of a reformation of an original group that dates back almost 100 years ago. So back then in the 20s and 30s, there was an oratorio society that was formed in conjunction with North Central College and the community. And that lasted till 1971, I think. And then there was kind of a hiatus for a few years. And then Bob Janes decided to kind of bring it back and founded the Naperville Chorus. What's kind of fun about the group is that we've really had a long history with just a few directors. So it's exciting to have a new director. But our prior director was with us for 34 years, and then prior to that it was Bob Janes who founded the group. So we've had a very stable group and a long affiliation with North Central College, and then also, of course, the Naperville community. Yeah,
that's interesting, and that stability. I mean, we've just had Ron Keller, who retired from the Naperville Municipal Band, and it certainly does provide stability, keeps everything moving in a good direction. So that's great. Now, talk a little bit about your mission. What's the goal?
Well, the goal really is to promote and bring to the community and to singers choral music. We really want to make sure that choral music lives and thrives and is embraced because it does so much to bring communities together. And we also are particularly interested in bringing music to others who can't come into a traditional setting. So while we love and enjoy the opportunity to sing in Wentz Hall, we have a small outreach group that will go to local retirement communities and places where it's harder for the residents to get out to a traditional setting. So it's really just to promote and continue to bring choral music to everyone who wants to enjoy music.
Yeah, which is lovely, because I mean, it's so uplifting, right? You know, not if I sing, but for people who are good at it, it's very uplifting. Yeah, well, I'll just stick to that. Thank you. You're very kind. So first of all, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And welcome to the Naperville Chorus. That's awesome. Talk a little bit about what your selections are going to be for your concert coming up in the fall.
Well, Jane, we are extremely excited to be offering a program that will consist of the greatest hits of Handel's Messiah, which is not only one of the greatest choral pieces of all time, but a piece that really speaks to humanity in its message for peace, which I think is all on our minds right now, especially. And it will also include the famous Alleluia chorus. We will also be performing selections of American holiday classics, which have been originally arranged for us by the Pete Elman Band, an incredible, exciting ensemble, one of the most exciting ensembles around. So we're looking forward to that collaboration as well. And you know, I think that our almost 120 voice chorus combined with jazz musicians, some of the finest in caliber, is going to make for quite the holiday extravaganza at our concert in December at Wentz.
Yeah, well, that Alleluia chorus, I mean, it's tingly, right?
I agree.
I don't know if that's a real good musical term, but I always find it to be quite tingly. It's really good. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Elizabeth, and you kind of alluded to it, Reed, that you're playing with the Pete Elman Band,
Right.
You're playing with the Naperville Winds, which is a relatively new group from North Central College. But are there other groups that you partner with or nonprofits that you partner with in the area?
There are. So you mentioned the municipal band, the Naperville Municipal Band, and when we were originally formed, we were formed to kind of work and collaborate together, and we've had a long history of collaboration with the Naperville Municipal Band. We typically enjoy performing at the band shell in the summer.
Central Park.
Yep. And we've also done a number of collaborations with the DuPage Symphony. And then we've done some dual choruses, large pieces with other community choruses in the area. So the Downers Grove Chorus, we performed a number of years ago with the American Bar Association Chorus, and that was really fun because we got to sing down in Chicago at Orchestra Hall and lovely acoustics there, and
Absolutely.
that was amazing. So we've enjoyed the opportunity to collaborate with a lot of different groups, and then every now and then we have taken the show on the road, so to speak. So we've gone, a number of the chorus members went to Washington, D.C. and performed at the Memorial Day Choral Festival. So that was a collaboration with other like-minded groups, but kind of from around,
around
the United
country.
States, which was
that's
really
exciting.
fun. Yeah, it was great. That was really, really fun. So.
Yeah. So Elizabeth, you've sort of talked a little bit, you've alluded to kind of your collaborations and playing outside of, what are the 2 traditional concerts that you do each year? But say a little bit more on that, Reed. You know, where else do you play? What else are you doing this year?
Right. Well, I think in general, I just want to mention, because I'm kind of new to Naperville, that the community here has such a magical energy. And to me, the chorus is an emblem of that, and the energy behind the chorus, especially coming out of COVID. We're in such an exciting period, and I know that we really want to take advantage of that and extend not only the amount of performances that we do, but also the kinds of music that we do. And one of the partnerships that we are venturing into this season is, again, with the Naperville Winds, and this upcoming holiday season we'll be performing on their holiday concert, and then in the spring they'll be joining us for a performance of Carmina Burana, one of the most exciting choral works of the 20th century. So we're really looking forward to developing that relationship and hopefully doing more with other groups and other venues in the Naperville area and beyond as well.
That's wonderful. And I'm not sure, and I love the fact that you've sort of given us the history, Elizabeth, that, you know, it kind of started with North Central College, which obviously it's so nice that you're at the Once, which is, my goodness, such an amazing
so
place.
wonderful.
For
Yeah.
any kind
Incredible.
of music performance, right?
Absolutely.
Or choral performance. So where would we get tickets for your concert this year?
So great question. The best and easiest place to do is to go to our website.
Okay, wonderful. Well, listen, first of all, congratulations on
Thank
the
you.
new appointment. We're
Thank you so
super
much.
excited to have you. May you be
As
here
am
for 30
I.
years.
I hope so, maybe more.
Exactly.
Maybe more, yes, that would be good, right? And Elizabeth,
you, Jane.
always nice to have you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure.
And if you would like more information or you want to buy tickets to the Naperville Chorus, please go and visit their website. I'd like to thank all of my guests for joining us on Spotlight, and our friends at Busey Bank for their generous sponsorship of today's show. To learn more about the organizations featured on today's episode, please visit our website at nctv17.org. And to stay informed about what's happening in our community, sign up to receive our daily news update and like and follow us on social media. For Spotlight, I'm Jane Wernette. Thank you for watching.
This episode of Spotlight is brought to you by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank.